Hi, my name is Lauren Anderson. This clip that you're about to see is just a short interview that I recorded with my dad. He took the time out to sit down with me to speak about racial bias in the workplace and his experience that he's experienced, gender disparity, and racial bias just that he's experienced. So I hope you enjoy. Thank you for watching. I'm here today with my dad, Charles A. Anderson, Program Manager for Cybersecurity Business Unit, Southeastern Computer Consultants, SCCI. Okay, so we're just going to be talking about if he's ever experienced racial bias in the workplace and just where he's grown up, and if he's ever experienced racial bias out in the real world. So where did you grow up?
I grew up in a small rural town called Victoria, Virginia. It's in Lunenburg County, near the border of North Carolina and Virginia, where they meet in the Piedmont region.
Would you say it's a diverse area?
Pretty much, pretty diverse area. Predominantly black and white, 50-50, I believe, in percentage.
So you were around both different cultures growing up throughout?
Yes, because I grew up in an integrated school system. So during the school year, we had a lot of diversity in the school. However, at home, I didn't really. I mingled with predominantly black people in my neighborhood and church and all that good stuff.
So when did you realize your race?
When did I realize my race? Early stages of my life, I realized through family connection, with my mom, my dad. They were really involved with teaching us who we are and where we came from. So I was really in touch with my race early on as a child.
So you didn't have an experience that you experienced ever growing up when you were younger? I know for myself, I always got in school, they didn't think that I had two black parents. They thought one was white, one was black, and when they realized that I was black, then that's when I realized, oh, I never realized that there was any kind of mistake that I wasn't African American. So you didn't have an experience?
No, I really didn't have any experience that I could recall. I knew that I was black. I knew I came from African American descent, clearly, both mom and dad. The diversity that we saw, a part of the diversity system that we saw when I went to school, it was very clear who I was, and we just dealt with it. We dealt with what we had handed.
Okay, so let's go into college. Where did you attend college?
I attended Virginia Union University in Richmond, Virginia. It's a historically black college, founded in 1865, right after Reconstruction.
Okay, so from attending a historically black institution, did you think that you had a better experience, if that was a better experience for you going to a historically black school, that you're around the same group of people that you grew up with or that you recognize with and could relate to?
Well, I tell you, my choice for school, coming out of high school, sorry, I was a outstanding scholar, so I had a lot of choices to choose from, a lot of schools to choose from. My first choice was West Point Military Academy, but ended up going to Virginia Union on a scholarship. I was introduced to Virginia Union by a cousin who attended St. Paul's College. He was telling me about that school, about our schools, historically black colleges, and I wanted to attend. My main reason for going there was just to get a college education. I had no idea. 18 years old coming out, had no idea. I just wanted a part of the opportunity to get a great education. When I attended Virginia Union University, it was a great pride for me being a part of history, a school that was part of the Reconstruction period, training young African American, male and female, to aspire to be better in the society, to contribute to society. So when I went to school, it was a wonderful experience, taught by a lot of different great professors from all around. here in America as well as abroad. Had professors from Africa, India. So it was a very diverse community, and where what I experienced, we had white students also. I had white students that attended, but the majority of the folks there at the university was African American descent. I really didn't have any. I wasn't even thinking about diversity or race. You know, to be honest with you, I was there to get education and play football and go off and do some wonderful things in this world. So I hope I answered your question. I don't know if I answered your question.
Mhm. So do you think that Virginia Union prepared you for the corporate world, being that the corporate world is so diverse? So did it prepare you for that, since you said that it was a diverse campus, but it was predominantly Black? Do you think that it did prepare you for the corporate world?
Yes, I believe so. The university, being a historically Black university, we were very integrated with Richmond, Virginia. And in Richmond, you had a lot of different schools. You had Virginia Commonwealth across the few miles away. You had University of Richmond right down the street, right down the road from us. So a lot of us, we had exchange opportunity to integrate and study with other students in the Richmond area, in Richmond and Petersburg as well. So it was not as I call segregated. It was more integrated in a city environment with a lot of offerings at the different schools: humanities, business, School of Theology, and also the police academy there. So
the location of Virginia Union is where you got your diversity. Is the location of it?
yeah, the location being in the inner city metropolitan area, close to a lot of the other universities, as well as connected to a lot of historical sites. You have the museum right on Monument Avenue. We had you have University of Richmond, we had the VCU. So as stated before, we had an opportunity to really integrate with a lot of different people, surprisingly, being at that university.
Okay, so let's, did you ever experience any racial bias in the workplace after you obtained your degree, that you're an educated African American male in the workforce? Did you experience any racial bias or disparity with income, anything like that?
No, I didn't experience it. I was fortunate to graduate a honor student, and then from there you had a lot of different opportunities from just applying yourself in terms of character and drive. So I was driven, and in that I was focused. So I didn't have time to allow nonsense, which I believe this race thing is a nonsense thing to me. It was more of applying yourself in school, making sure that you acquire the foundation of education, reading, writing, math, and then you branch that off into the sciences, humanities, and arts. And I had an opportunity, by the grace of God, to get that. So I looked at just what I could bring to the table and compete with other universities. I call it the majority schools, what they call it. But Virginia Union University prepared us to say that we're a majority school too. So when we came out, we were already prepared to tackle the big problems of this world, to help solve their problems.
So you don't think that you had to compete more so than the majority of, like a white male? You don't think that you had to compete more so for a job?
Not really, because of what the students before us did. When Virginia Union was founded, it produced a lot of the leaders that's in the world, predominantly majority leaders in the world that's African American, running big companies, doctors, lawyers, scientists. They're already doing it. So they set this stage, and they proved that whatever product is produced from Virginia Union was going to be a great product. So we had, for an example, we had Harvard University coming down because of what Randall Robinson did, and the other African American students that went up there and studied and did well. What they did in terms of acquiring and achieving, acquiring the talent, the education to achieve the best and to be the best they could be, made it easier for us. And so when Harvard came down, and Yale or University of Virginia or any Virginia Tech, when it was time for us to go and get our postgraduate degree, it was a easier thing for us because Virginia Union prepared us, and the teachers that taught there, professors that taught there, was from these universities anyway.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that there is racial bias in the workplace? Like when you're trying to go and get a job, do you think there is?
I really had to experience it one-on-one for myself. I never had to experience that. I can't say other people didn't experience it. I'm sure they have experienced that, but I was fortunate enough not to have experienced it. Mine was based on merit, based on what I could bring to the table, how I performed in the workplace. If you perform, you compete with everybody. You're number one, you're going to get the job.
So I think everything is based off merit, not your race, not diversity. Everything is based off merit, based on what you're saying.
No, I'm not. I think it has something to do with merit, but also I think race has something to do with it also. Well, I'm just giving you my experience. I never really had to experience that. I competed, and when I compete, I win some, I lose some. But I never attested me losing to my race, and someone was picked over me because of race. I contended to focus on my merit and me putting in the work, and I'm focusing with no excuses to it and to achieve in this world. So I know it exists. I read about affirmative action, things that happened post-Reconstruction era when African Americans were forming in terms of family and education and building universities and studying, where people wanted to say, hey, look, no, we have to do something to kind of stop that or slow it down, slow that progress down. And it was a racial thing, I believe. But a lot of folks in the majority system had a head start. So the institution that was established for these people allowed them to get a head start, as I said, in the banking system, in business, setting up business, in the marketplace, taking advantage of the opportunities,
So
stocks.
do you believe in affirmative action? Are you for affirmative action?
I never believed in systems that gave another group an advantage. I understand the reason why affirmative action exists, because of the unfairness in the game. I call the game of the socioeconomic, the social system that existed in America. I really do. But I think it's a shame that a system like that was established. I think it should have been based on merit, but a wise man told me, people like to do business with people they know and like. So if they don't know you or don't like you, there's not a good chance that you're going to get an opportunity to play or perform in a particular area that you want to perform in this particular capitalistic marketplace.
But do you think affirmative action is necessary?
I think it's necessary. I think it's necessary. However, I think it should be. Regulated. And when I say regulated, I'm saying, anything can be abused, okay, and people can take advantage of anything that was set up for good. Okay. So I think it has its place, but I would not want that to be the only reason a person gets picked for a job or gets selected for a school based on affirmative action. I think it should be based on merit, it should be based on character, it should be based on what you putting into the system, how much you want to get out of it, and then set it up as a true competition, and the best person wins, in my opinion.
Okay, so where you're at now in life. So being that you are now a program manager at SCCI, a high-tech business environment, and you're in charge of hiring of employees, do you experience any gender disparity?
I don't. To be honest with you, Lauren, I really don't get it. I know the laws are set in place for equality in terms of gender, race, sex, all that. I really understand that, and I respect that. But in my business, I don't have time really to focus on that. I want to hire the best person to do the job, regardless of male or female. Okay, so in my business, I'm in cybersecurity, so it's a high-tech environment, engineering, and in the statistics of this marketplace, you would see coming out of universities more male dominant because of the high tech. A lot of females didn't go into the science and math and engineering. But I'm seeing a shift in the STEM program. So right now, believe it or not, I'm hiring a lot of women, you know, because they qualify for the job. They have put in the education, they have put in the work, they have the certification to do the job, and they have the experience to do the job. And I work on high tech tactical combat systems for the DoD, Department of Navy, specifically the Navy. And these folks have, and these individuals have really proven that they can do the work. And I hire them based on
And you're
merit.
paying them, are you paying them the same, women and male, the same?
I don't
Or are you
look at-
paying based off of their experience and merit?
I pay based on what the marketplace states in reference to experience, education, etc.
So in your workplace, there is no gender disparity?
There's no gender disparity in my workplace. I hire and I pay based on what they qualify for. And a woman could be making more than a man, or vice versa. But I do not look at just gender, I look at what that total person can bring to the table to fill a particular billet or requirement that I have to fill.
Okay, well, that is all the questions I have for you. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your answers and your feedback on racial bias in the workplace, gender disparity. I really appreciate your time.
Well, thank you very much. I really enjoyed this time. I really don't get a chance to sit down and do these things, so I hope I didn't disappoint you, and I hope I answered the questions clearly and succinctly to meet your requirements.
Thank you.
Yo.